it all.
I hadn't studied it word for word.
Recording in progress, so you know.
Yeah.
So why ain't
It's
you guys on
recording.
Big Screen?
I'm having internet trouble again. I need internet.
And the commissioners give me the okay to get us, to get somebody up here.
Yeah.
Cause I can only have some money, now they're ready money.
Yeah, I did. And she's like, what's my dog? I didn't know what dog.
Down on 150, there's a tree laying over a phone line. It's got the whole box opened up. It's one of the big boxes. It's the one that's on the pole or on the line itself. Water just poured in there. That's probably why you got trouble with the internet.
They don't care very
Sad
much
that they
about
can't
our
get good infrastructure.
phone charges.
They don't care at all.
I say, but it sucks down there. At fire station. Pour you out. Probably a good thing.
Sorry, it takes it a couple seconds to mute. Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Just to get us in the spirit. Stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, go over. We need to go minutes, sorry. Approve the minutes for the
Make a motion to approve the minutes. February's meeting.
February 3rd.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Now, sorry.
Return. This evening I brought Khaki. They're a tenant on Westgate Tech Park on the Martin County side, and they're looking to expand their office space. Over, it's basically right next to where they're at currently. But I will let Matt or Tim, you all want to tell the story of what you've got going on?
I'm Tim Conrad, and we have Kirk Talbot and Khaki if you have any operations questions. But the plan would be to construct a 2-story, 53,000 square foot space. It'd be a mix of lab and office space to support additional growth. They're at 111 employees now. They'd like to almost double that by adding 100 new jobs. It would support some defense contracts that they have in place already, and would welcome any questions that you all have about the project.
What's your timeline on construction?
They'd like to get started sometime here in by summer and have it completed in the next 2 years. They do plan to build the entire facility, and then the tenant improvements, they're gonna stage over time, internally.
So you're figuring the building to be done in 27? 100 new employees, how soon those will be added to the,
Those will be phased in over the first 3 years of the project.
so by 2030, you'll be operating with 100 employees additionally.
And really good wages. I don't know if you took a look, but 6-figure on average for those new positions.
And what kind of positions are these?
A lot of them are gonna be
Engineering?
techs, technical people. They will have some engineering talent as well. Kirk, I don't know if you want to speak of.
Sure.
Come on, Kurt, come on down. You're the next contestant.
Sure. So a variety of opportunities, but a ton of it is engineering and technology driven, right? So a lot of it is looking for innovative ways to bring new capabilities to the warfighter in time, so it's available when they need it. But with that comes the tailoring of resources, doing logistics support. So there are some other jobs that are not just, technicians or engineers, but logistics support and, folks that are staffing like, a warehouse area, including shipping and receiving, those types of positions are also available. Oh, yeah, the security too. So the space that we're looking to get would also also bring us, skip access, which is TSSCI level, cleared positions that we're also seeking. Most of what we're doing today, is getting higher and higher scrutiny on the clearance levels, so most of my staff is TSSCI. So this would offer us a skip space for not only CACI to use, but our DoD partners to use as well, so.
How many of those employees do you expect will come from Martin County?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, the one thing we do well locally is we meet with, 6 different schools, and we try to get local people interested in staying here. What I found when I went to school, locally at Eastern Green, and I couldn't have told you what Crane was or what the DoD done or what Westgate done. But we meet with, all these schools and talk to students because a lot of them, once you've met with them, get interest in their field that they're gonna go to college and study. So we started hiring, high school interns as well, so that we can keep people here locally. So we meet with Lagodi, we meet with Washington, we meet with Bloomfield, we meet with Eastern Green, and we hire students, from the local community to say, what are your plans? Well, if you live here now, you may wanna stay here. Our focus isn't necessarily just to go try to it's harder to bring people to the state than it is to keep people that are already here now. Especially if you have a family here, you're more apt to stay if the job opportunity exists. I didn't answer the question on what percentage because it's hard to really say, right? But we are targeting keeping people that are born and raised here in Indiana to stay here in Indiana with job opportunities.
Well, as Jessica would tell you, our cost of living here is somewhat lower than the state average. We're not extremely low, but we are lower. And hopefully that's gonna attract, and we're adding some housing additions in Lagodi and in the county that's, hopefully we can anchor them people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I live in
Get their kids in
Lagodi
our
myself.
schools, things like that, so. But,
If I could just add, so Bryant Niehoff with USTF, the Westgate Crane Authority up there, we work as their development partner, work with Jessica and the rest of the team here. We do collect numbers on the amount of employees throughout the entirety of the tech park that are Martin County residents, Davie, Green as well. Now, I will say, and we'll check on you, Kirk, but a lot of our folks do report that. But as Kirk mentioned, it is challenging for a lot of our companies to get that data when they're reporting that out for CTP numbers. I'm sure you guys sent that along, but I just wanted to say that it's not perfect in terms of the data that we get back from our companies. We'd be happy to pass it along to Jessica if that's any indication as to, the general makeup of the employees that we come to CAC.
well, our battle here so we're in the middle of writing a comprehensive plan and we're getting data and stuff like that. And one of the pieces of paper was crossed across in front of me and Jessica. A couple weeks ago, there's 1,047 people that come from other counties surrounding us into Martin County to work every day, where we only lose 64 out of every. So we need it's great those people are traveling to us,
Sure,
but we want those people to start living in our county.
yeah. I have a lot of employees for sure in my current facility that live in Lagodi near me, so I live.
And that's great.
Yeah, that's sort of good. The other thing that this building allows me to do, that you didn't ask this question, but we are growing at an alarming rate. That's the reason I need the facility. When I took on this position, for CACI just 4 years ago, we were revenuing, a pretty small number, around 8 million a year. We're at 200 million now. We look to double that by being able to build this facility. And that's really, a big story, allows us to hire a lot of people.
So is the building big enough?
In the short term, yeah. I
So
mean,
it'll take you 2 years to get it built. If you're growing at that rate, that building's not big enough.
I have 2 other buildings I'm in now that still have a little bit of capacity left in them. So this is me trying to plan ahead.
Those in Davis and Martin County.
They're right there at Westgate, so they're Martin County. Yeah, and I have some capacity in those now. This is sort of me planning ahead for the growth.
Well, we're glad you just chose Martin County.
Anything else I can answer?
Dave,
Warren, if I may, I'm gonna kind of be the devil's advocate here. with all the craziness going on in Washington and in the Pentagon, what is the vitality for contractors here? No, I really get the idea that absolutely nobody knows what's going on.
So, I mean, there's some truth in that, right? There's some confusion. The one thing that I initially was really concerned, and then they started to put out some lists by they, I mean, all the Doge, stuff has put a lot of lists out about consulting firms. And those firms are gonna get looked at, right? Because consulting firms opens up the idea that as a consultant, you might say, this would be good for my company, and you're consulting on behalf of the government. Turns out of the 10 vendors that came out as consulting firms, CACI's not on the list because we're a technology company. We're not on the list anywhere because we provide technology and capability to warfighters. HII and SAIC and, Booz Allen and Leidos, they're all on that consulting list. We are not. So because we do provide technology and capabilities, it keeps us off the list that I would consider a bad list. So as of today, I'm not answering the mail for problems with what's happening. And it looks like, I just won another contract, 2 days ago, to provide service support for SMC Crane out of my current facility, so. There is risk, but I don't see the risk for CACI today, given that we're a product and a technology company. If we're a consulting firm, I'd be looking for a job myself, maybe, but we're not.
Brian, have you got any more buildings in the works up there?
We do, yeah, so we actually,
I'm sorry, Carl, change 17 because.
no, I mean, it's all related, right? It's all
Yeah.
related as part of the growth at Westgate. So we have a groundbreaking here in a few weeks for the Indiana Payload Integration Facility. There we go. That'll be Kratos, National Security Defense, that'll be moving in there. We also have, it's nearing completion, High Bridge Solutions up in Greene County. And then we have the facility called the Radiation Combined Environments Facility, RCE, that'll be run by Amentum, and that'll be in the southeast corner of Davies County, actually just catty corner from Crane Village there. So in total, with this project, Kratos and RCE, that's, approaching $200 million in investment. Pretty significant.
Good.
Yeah.
But, so they're in Martin County, how many of the others that you just spoke of? I mean, I know we have a little bit of ground left up there,
Yeah.
Strong Box acquired.
Yep. So this, to my knowledge, is the second to last site, right, Jessica? Until really Martin County's section of the technology park is built out. So yeah, I believe you have, well, no, there's two more lots.
Yeah.
You're right.
Three.
Yeah, there's three altogether. Correct, thank you. There's the one just east of, I believe that's Westgate 4. That Jim Logan owns, Premier, and then, there's a property south of that, right, that Strong Box owns. So of the companies that we mentioned there, really CACI is the only project in Martin County. But just given that, if you look at the trajectory for how Westgate's developed, really Martin County has been, I would say, more of the benefactor on the early end of Westgate's trajectory, right? I mean, most of the buildings right now are in Martin County. And the remaining developable property is in mostly Davies, to a certain extent Greene, with Progress Point.
Any other questions for him?
I believe so.
What was their starting point?
Maybe this summer, they hope to get started.
This summer.
Yeah.
So the abatement don't start technically until. Like,
Yeah, 27, pay 28.
and how's it prorated?
Usually we,
It's 20 million, but we decide that, correct?
yeah, we've usually done, 100, 90, 80, so on.
During
Ten
it was
years.
10, yeah. First year is 5, I think, right?
Or 100% the first year.
I mean, and then I feel like there's a 5 in there. Is it 10?
It's always 10, I believe.
Is it on-
10% every
Okay.
10% over 10 years,
Yeah.
100% over 10 years.
So we can give
That was my question for the public. I was going to ask the term of the abatement. 10 years? Is that correct?
Mhm.
Probably.
Well, that's the max.
Okay,
That's what we've typically done.
okay, thank you.
So we decide the percentage of the.
And their first year is next year? Did you say?
No, I don't think, I think that's standard. What do you say?
Is their first year next year, start at 0? So
It's
26?
27 payable 28 is when the first
Okay.
year will take place.
So not till they actually get it
They
done.
finish, yeah.
We'll finish the building in 27, which would be payable in 28's tax roll.
Okay, got it.
So the spring of 28 would be the first abatement.
For 0.
Yeah, you're usually a year in the arrears, right, behind. And I don't know how it is in Martin County in terms of assessments, but I know when I worked in Davies County, there, they assessed at the beginning of the year. So let's say if the project was completed in July of 27, then yeah, that following year. But I don't know, all counties do assessments a little bit differently, yeah.
I believe ours goes on March 1st.
What'd you say, Jerry?
So I believe our assessments go on March 1st. Well, usually when I worked with that.
Motion for a 10-year?
Well, you can't act tonight.
No.
This has to be advertised.
Okay, I thought it was.
I don't know.
Okay,
Probably round it up. April, meeting.
okay.
Do we have to advertise the percentages or advertise the amount, David?
The request for abatement and there'd be, essentially a public hearing and then you all would vote.
Okay. I guess, gentlemen, we have the public hearing first. You're welcome to come to that. I suggest you do, or one of you represent. In case Mary gets questioned on us. She likes to cause a ruckus in the corner.
But it does sound like good things ahead.
Table this in, or
No tabling, right? We just,
just information.
This is just
Information.
informational, consider the information. Your meeting in April is on the 7th.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You all for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Salary and wage ordinance amendments.
yeah, a couple to bring to you tonight. Found out from the State Board of Accounts last year that, we were using Fund 4921 for project income. We should have been using 1122 is what they told us, and I apologize, between the budgets and the new salary and wage ordinance, I forgot to make this correction, so. That's what these first two are, zeroing out project income wages and putting it into the Fund 1122. Community corrections, those same wages into that fund. So I contacted State Board of Accounts also and, DLGF, and they said I could transfer the budgets. As long as I documented well, that they knew, what was going on. But yeah, I want to get this, salary and wage, so that matched. What we were paying out. And on the 1148 drug-free community coordinator, that's in the budget. We haven't had a coordinator for a couple years. And I don't know if you're on the JRAC board, if they've talked about that, but from my understanding, they asked Danielle Murphy, the community corrections director, to take this coordinator position. So she's gonna be paid this 2,000 in addition to her salary, but she's already getting paid as director. So instead of a contract position, now it's part of the employee salary, so that's why it's coming on the salary and wage ordinance.
We have a motion for these.
Now, I have a question.
Yeah,
So you're paying her regular salary and then adding this to it?
mhm.
So as me being when I was a coroner, I couldn't take two pays.
Yeah, we did think of that, and she's not elected, so, she doesn't fall into that same scenario.
He wasn't elected either.
Well, on the
I
council,
wasn't either. Well, I was getting elected on council though.
yeah.
Any other question?
No.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion for a Siam ordinance amendment.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Unanimous.
In favor. I'm a little slow tonight, sorry. Who's that take us to?
That was just for this. Now we're doing all of these.
No, I thought we were getting all in, that's why I tried to keep up, I was like, holy cow.
No, that was this page.
Okay, now I'm with you.
These are all, you're just transferring all these,
Taking them back.
taking them back. You don't have to read
Yeah,
them all.
No, for the de-appropriations, back in budgets, the council at that time didn't know what was happening with opt-out. So I added, $4,000 into each full-time employee's salary in case we had to take the opt-out away. We left that as an option. So that was in the budget, that went to the state, the state approved it. And then I asked them, once we decided to keep the opt-out for this year, how I needed to fix this, cause in every budget, it's everybody's full-time salary is $4,000 more than, what they're actually gonna get paid for the salary and wage. So anytime any department head looks at their budgets, it looks like they have more salary there than they really do. So they said either de-appropriate like this, send to the paper, advertise, or they said we could have done just a generic ordinance. But I thought this was cleaner, to take it out of each budget line. So it was a, kind of a real-time fix.
Well, this, like you said, this is a lot cleaner. It specifies everything and keeps us out of trouble.
Yeah.
So that gets us all the way down to the
204.
But does everybody, all these has $4,000 on there,
Yeah,
even though they were taking insurance instead?
Because we
Yeah.
didn't know. We didn't know, and we still are waiting on an answer, but we had to put it in there because we didn't know if we was gonna have an answer that said we couldn't do what we was doing. And so we prepared both in last year's budget. And that's how they advised us to do it, and then they told us we could de-appropriate whichever way we didn't go.
It was better to have the money in place. That's what this is doing. We found it basically, now we're wiping it.
Yeah.
Wiping it clean from Michelle's books to be, it'll be already.
I was just curious why you'd have it in place for those who intended to take the insurance.
Because if we had to take it away,
The insurance why?
we're,
if we had to take the buyout away,
Yeah.
then there wouldn't be anybody getting a buyout, so then we had this 4,000 to sit there and try to, we hadn't even figured out exactly how we was gonna make it work, but we wanted the money there so that we could try to make something work. And without it being in the budget, none of the elected officials, if we didn't do it this way, could have been made whole if we had to take the buyout.
So we actually had it in there two different ways.
And we're still, I think lawyers are still working on the other to get an official answer.
Yeah.
So we'll be dealing with it again.
and one of the thoughts at the time was to raise people's insurance costs 4,000, so it kind of evened out. So, instead of paying like 12,000 a year, people would pay, that 4,000 extra,
Uh-huh.
so. But that was just one suggestion at the time, but to kind of make it fair.
So we need a motion on the general fund.
A second, excuse me.
All in favor? Unanimous? Same thing for the edit fund, which would be the ambulance wages, right?
The ambulance and then community corrections, that's the raises line. Their grant, so I didn't have anywhere to, at that time, to put their 4,000, so that's what that line is. So yeah, it's ambulance and community corrections.
We have a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Donnie,
A second.
Jim, second. All in favor? Unanimous? The highway department,
Make the motion.
Donnie,
A second.
Carol, all in favor? Unanimous? Local state 911,
Make the motion. Second.
all in favor? Are you getting
Yep,
reassessment fund?
I'll make the motion.
Carol,
Second.
Jordan, all in favor? Unanimous? Guess that's still the same thing, right? The co-op agreement.
no, it's a different fund.
I mean, but it's still the same.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Motion for that, Monty? All in favor? Unanimous. So
I
that's,
wiped out a bunch.
that's all of those.
Yeah, now I got additional appropriations. These are some,
One, may I ask, ladies and gentlemen, okay if I? Hey,
Thanks for coming.
I'll swing by.
I don't, yeah, thank you. I don't know if you need my expertise on this. since I
Okay.
don't know anything about it, so,
mhm,
Yeah, thanks.
okay?
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
I get it.
additional appropriations, some we talked about last meeting. For circuit court, temporary court reporter. For the 90 to 120 days. $11,010 would be the maximum amount. And bailiff, 17,800. But I believe there wasn't enough in there to even to begin with, even before the additional raise last meeting. So, last year during budgets, he was
Yeah, last year. budget
$15 an hour or something. So,
Then we went to 21, then we went to 25,
Mhm.
if I remember right.
so yeah, that's why it's such a large number, is because we didn't have enough even from last year's increase. And the sheriff, chief deputy, 435. That's taking into account the 4,000, I didn't decrease these lines 4,000, so this is part of their $5,000 increase. Through the year, it'd be, 4435. So major, captain, patrol deputy 1, 2, and 3. Then jail corrections officer, that's the additional officer, 41,014 for the remainder of the year. Communications officer, same amount. And the matron, $1,023.
Sheriff, are you wanting to talk to us about?
No, I'm just here if you guys got any questions for me. I wasn't sure exactly how this was broke out. I was trying to figure where the
41,
$435
that
came
seems-
from, but now I know.
Have you hired your people?
How's that work out?
Have you hired people yet?
We have hired some.
I took it by the max amount they could be paid
Had some
times
with us already.
Okay.
23 weeks, I think,
One of them never even showed up and quit.
23 pays,
Oh,
sorry.
God.
So
That's right.
on your corrections officers, you have 5,
Or is that the 5th?
7? You're for the 5th. Yeah,
She's got a 5 on here, Josh. Says corrections officer 5 in parentheses. What's the 5 mean?
Just number 5.
Corrections officer, number 5.
Mhm.
It's probably how it got labeled on the budget item.
Mhm.
Okay. And why is a matron 1,023 versus 435?
We
This here?
weren't paying her. I've been told that matron kind of follows the lowest paid deputy, is that right? So she wasn't getting paid the lowest paid deputy the first 3 weeks of this year.
What had happened, our lowest deputy used to be like $500 less than the next 3 deputies. And for some reason, it was set up that way. So this year's budget, we approved, I requested, and you guys approved, just put them all the same. So when they went from deputy number 10 to deputy number 9, there wasn't no change, but the pay. For as minimal as it was, and that starting salary is what we had to advertise with, so for $500 a year, we had to advertise $500 more for your starting salary and recruiting people. That's why I had requested it, but the matron was supposed to follow that position, and whenever I did the budget, I didn't follow that position with that $500, around the $500 difference.
So this takes care of her back pay.
No, I didn't back there.
I'm not worried about it, unless there's legalities to it.
You have somebody you can ask, I would say there is, but
We could do the math and submit it on next payroll too.
Alright.
I would think it would be better.
It's probably $15 or $20 maybe.
Yeah.
We can get it lined out.
Well, if it's that way in the budget, we gotta have it lined out. With the state, we don't want them to come down on us over something stupid like that. I'll make a motion.
So how many people do you actually have that's hired now? If you have one that didn't even show up and
Well, the one that didn't show up was a part-time cook.
part-time cook,
Yeah. We had a jail officer show up there for days and then decided it was too busy. And we just hired a jail officer to become a deputy. I think we're down 1 jail officer right now. But I think there's one possibly getting hired full-time. Very soon.
you're down one from prior to us giving you approval for these new people?
No, so she gave us the new people, I hired that, and then I stole one of my jailers to make him a deputy.
Okay,
so we're not back down, but I think we've got something in the pipeline replacing him.
Even the cook,
The part-time cook, I don't have anybody in the pipeline for that.
Mary, can we put you in for
We have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Who's the first? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay. Lit Public Safety Share Fund 1170, the 435.
Have a motion.
Make the motion.
Gerald. Golden second. All in favor? You're in favor, Jim?
Yes.
And the opioid unrestricted fund, Fund 1238, bailiff equipment and bailiff training. $2,500 each for a total of 5,000. Asking for this because that's where the commissioners paid for it last year. I'll bring this to them tomorrow night. But since they've hired a bailiff, they've already ordered equipment. Right, so she doesn't have anywhere to pay for it from.
Does he carry a gun?
I really haven't got on hold to it right now.
I didn't know, I mean, the last one carried a taser or whatever, I was curious.
So the last one here,
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay,
Have you started?
yeah, I seen him today in the
I'll
building.
make the motion now, they open it, unrestricted.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Pretrial diversion, Fund 2501, this wasn't brought at budget time, I did check, State Board of Accounts was here during our audit. And we found that the clerk was depositing, pretrial money into this fund, and we had it labeled wrong in the budgets. So they pointed that out, but it is prosecutor money, so she's asking for it to be, budgeted. $4,000 bonus stipend, $448 per 306 in social security and miscellaneous prosecutor expense 5,000 for a total of $9,754.
I think the bonus and stuff is replacing the general fund line item that she shouldn't need, I believe.
Yeah,
We have a motion. Harold, a second.
I'll second it.
Bonnie, all in favor? Unanimous.
IDOR sheriff warrant fee fund 4916, $6,300 to IDOR sheriff warrant fees. So I believe this is when you serve a warrant, right? We get money in from the state.
have to help assist the Department of Revenue collect income taxes when people don't pay it. Whether you're self-employed or your own business. So whenever somebody gets a tax warrant put against them by the Department of Revenue, they send me notice, then I have to send notice to the individual directly. We mail them a letter, and then they can come to us and pay their taxes, then I have to submit it to the state. So it's a whole mess of money shuffling. It's just one of our duties to help the state with.
Yeah, and then the state sends us money that we receive into this fund, so then you get paid out from that, right, as reimbursement? So,
Have a motion.
I'll take back the motion.
Yeah, second. Bonnie? All in favor?
Next hazard mitigation plan fund 9111, EMA professional services, they're working on their 5-year hazard mitigation plan they have to do, as compliance, and they get a grant for this for most of it. There's an in lieu payment due, which I believe commissioners have to attend a day-long meeting, and EMA attends meetings kind of as partial payment for the rest of the grant. But Andy Ringwald said they're moving along on the grant, so I'm gonna ask for appropriation for that, so we'll be able to pay it when that time comes.
They don't have the grant yet.
Yeah, they've got the grant, but it's like reimbursable. So we'll have to pay and then we'll get paid back.
We have a motion for that,
I'll make that motion.
Harold. Second, yeah, all in favor? Unanimous.
And local public health services fund 1161 contractual services. This is the new health department grant that the state and giving them extra funding, and Julia had told us during budget time, it was $808.70 short her grant, her budget request. And I'd forgot at that time to adjust that, after she told you guys. So this is the additional appropriation for her to be able to spend all the grant money she's gonna get in. And I believe she has received it all, but hasn't spent it all. She gets a monthly invoice from Hoosier Uplands that we pay, so just at the end of the year, we'll be short if we don't appropriate this.
The motion for this one. Sharon. Jim,
Second.
Andy. All in favor?
I'm not opposed, but I might order abstain.
It's on the Hoosier Upland.
Oh, okay.
Boy, that's a killer.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Do you have anything else, Sheriff? Mary? Do you know when your date is yet? Is that
Yeah, we can bring it up next meeting.
because if people wasn't opposed, it would be better if we could do the next meeting, the 14th instead of 17th. I mean, instead of 7th. I'm supposed to be at a,
Wasn't in favor of that.
supposed to be at a, representing the company that day. And I can make it happen, it just won't be quite as comfortable. For the next
The
day,
17th.
the 14th, the
So
next
far,
Monday,
Monday.
instead of the 7th.
You have to have a motion for that. If you don't do it,
I think we do.
Oh, we can go ahead, it's safe for
I
public.
think, I mean, to change the date, everything,
I know I have to advertise, but.
because you'll have to advertise.
Mhm.
That's why I didn't know if you knew your date yet.
I think so, but it's far enough out that we've got time,
Okay.
so.
Okay. I can make it work if I have to, but it would make life a lot easier for me.
I'm in agreement with the 14th, that's fine.
I'm second.
All in favor? Is that it?
Motion adjourned.
All in favor?
that was quick.
You might let the ACI
So,
know about
Yeah,
it.
Oh,
we,
yeah.
we haven't. Yeah, we'll be having a meeting. with Jessica too.
okay.
Yeah.
No,
That was a lot of stuff and not too long a time.
My meeting date